Excellent. There we go. We are live. So welcome, everyone. My name is Megan Collins. I am a student recruitment coordinator here at NSCC. But joining me this afternoon to talk about the Addictions Community Outreach Program, we have two guests. I'll start with Mike, and then I will let the star of the show introduce themselves. Mike is an academic chair. Mike, if you don't mind giving a quick hello to everyone.
Hello, folks. My name is Mike Rochester. I'm the Academic Chair for Health and Human Services and Access in terms of early childhood education. Welcome to the webinar, and we are looking forward to having a very interesting and educational time with you in terms of letting you know what the ADCO program is and what it can do for you.
And we also have Dale joining us. Dale is our faculty for the Addictions Community Outreach Program. Hi, Dale.
Hi. When you decide to come into this program, you're going to see a lot of me. Yeah, because I'm the primary instructor, and you might be interested to know I designed it, so I have an idea what the intention and the best intentions are. So I bring all of that and a little knowledge around the concepts of outreach and addictions, and I bring that to you. And I look forward to seeing y'all in real life.
Perfect. Before we get into things, I do want to acknowledge where our campuses are located. We are located, or NSCC is located in Mi'kmaq, the unceded territory and traditional homeland of the Mi'kmaq Nation. Our relationship is based on a series of peace and friendship treaties between the Mi'kmaq Nation and the Crown dating back to 1725. As treaty beneficiaries, we recognize that we are all treaty people. Mm-hmm. In addition, I would like to recognize our African Nova Scotian roots. NSCC recognizes the African Nova Scotians as a distinct group who arrived here 400 years ago. From that time on, they have contributed to the infrastructure and economic wealth of the towns and cities they helped to build, from which they could not benefit from. Let us learn more about how our respective communities were shaped by the historical contributions of African Nova Scotians to Mi'kmaq. If this is your first time attending an NSCC webinar, welcome. And if you have joined one in the past, welcome back. We use a platform called GoToWebinar. We've automatically disabled your microphones and your cameras. So if you're multitasking right now, maybe you are making yourself, what time is it now? 3:30. Maybe you're making yourself a little bit of a snack, getting a head start on dinner. Maybe you're commuting, doing some homework, whatever it might be. You don't have to worry about your camera or microphone accidentally turning on. They have been disabled. But we do encourage you to ask questions using the questions tab on your screen. I will be reading those questions throughout the session, so please ask whatever questions you'd like and we will answer those throughout. If you have a question that's a little bit more personal in nature, so maybe you are asking about admission requirements and how they relate to your personal experience or your personal background, send us an email to recruitment@nscc.ca and we'll get back to you. All right, so let's dive into things. So NSCC, Nova Scotia Community College, we offer 14 campuses across the province, one of which is an e-campus. However, our program that we're talking about today, Addictions Community Outreach, is located at our Kings Tech campus. Mike, where is the Kings Tech campus? Can you talk to us a little bit about the culture at our Kings Tech campus?
So we are located right in the Annapolis Valley in Kentville, and we're located, the actual address is Belcher Street. So we're there, and we are, I would say, it's not a massive campus, but it's not a small campus either. It's somewhere in the middle. And the campus culture is very, very welcoming. We have a lot of programs that we're doing. We have a vibrant SA, Student Association. We have folks that do a lot of programs. We have, for example, our disability sports program. We work with the Flower Card and have some of their residents or some of their clients come in, and we do some things with them on Fridays, I think it is. We have Bond coming in, and they're doing a big, they call it a blitz, with so the nursing students can do some of their skills. we have lots of different community things that are happening in and out of the campus. Our hockey team just won, actually, the college cup, whatever they call it. So we have a very, very vibrant academic programs as well. We have a lot of, obviously we have trades here as well. So we have lots of different things that are going on. We have a very impactful student services department. They do a lot of work with students. We work with you both academically and if there are things going on outside of our four walls that you need help with and it's impacting or impeding your academics, we'll help you with that as well. Our principal is Jason, very, very down-to-earth person, the type of person that you can walk up to, say hi to, he'll say hi to you. Is not just in his office. We have lots of academic chairs that again that are involved in the student life. So it's a very vibrant community that is expanding. We have some international students now that we haven't had in the past. So the culture and the vibrancy of our campus is absolutely growing. And next year within the next few years, I should say, we're looking at having housing.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Good stuff.
Okay, Dale, addictions community outreach. What the heck is
whatever is this? Okay, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming in, or anyone who's listening to this afterwards, so that you get a better sense of what it is you're going to sign up for. Okay, now, as I said earlier, not only do I teach a lot of the courses, 90% of it or so, but I also created it so I have a sense of how everything flows together because of that. All right. I do want to, first of all, acknowledge that, just so you have an understanding how the NSCC works for you, is that Mike here used to teach in the program. He taught a course or two. All right. So you're going to find that there's a connection between a lot of our programs and all of us. You will have another instructor. It's not the Dale show. Okay. But having said that, what we do with the Addictions Community Outreach Program is we invite you to think about what you want to do and how you will go to the future and figure out what does it mean to be an outreach worker with a knowledge of substance abuse, substance misuse, addictions, and of course subsumed in there, I'm just be really frank, it's issues of mental wellness. So it's a 1-year graduate certificate program where what you do is you take what you've already gotten, because everyone who arrives in this program has something else, and then figure out where you want to be, and then we work together about getting there. So in other words, the pathway folks go in this program is there's a skills that you're going to learn, but we work with each student and what they bring, because you will have all kinds of stuff. Now, mind you, I'm going to be honest, sometimes when students come here, they tell me they don't know a lot, but I know you do. Because one of the things about coming to NSCC is for us to help you see what your strengths are and what your skills already are. And when we have a class of sometimes 15, 20 people sitting in the class is capped at 20, okay, that each student is individual, but yet you're together. So what we want is to help you figure out where you are right now and where you want to go, and then what skills we can add together. So what we want you to have when you leave here is the skills and the knowledge, preferably the skills with the knowledge, as opposed to separate. I got to put it that way. When you come in, you'll know what I mean in the first week, so that you can work providing support to people. So in an outreach situation, and you'll notice there's a beautiful photo here of someone on a bike, because one of the things that I want for you to consider as you come in here is that outreach is not necessarily treatment. Someone can be an outreach worker in a treatment service, but most of our work is not. In the places that people get jobs and placements is in the entirety of the nonprofit sector, where you're an outreach worker with specialized knowledge and specialized skills. So you tend to be the one in your organization with this, and you not only support individuals, and that can be individuals one-on-one, and it can be individuals in a group, but it also, you may support the other workers, or even supporting the community, because community outreach means that you're going to work with individuals, groups, and communities. And communities, sometimes, I mean, some of our students have left here, they're not doing a lot of one-on-one work. What they're doing is they're working with community groups on how to create outreach groups and outreach programs. So this is a program where people come in with an idea what you want to do, and then we'll work together individually to get you where you want, along with, of course, there's some core competencies. You want to be able to figure out how to access all that knowledge you had before. I'm going to show you how to use it. I'm going to show you how to talk to individuals. I'm going to talk to groups, all of these things. And the admissions requirement, and I think I said it, but I said it in a different way, is that you are already pre-existing. That most folks who come into this program have university degrees, and in social sciences or humans and health and human services field, or let me break that down into plain English for you, because we've also had people come in with chemistry degrees and all that. But, and I put my finger up just like mother would, you need to have a background in at least an intro psych course and an intro soc. So you need to do it. And I've had a number of students that've done that as a precursor to come in with add to their degree. The student a few years ago came in with a library degree and was helping people in her library. And she came in, and now she's an outreach worker, working partly in a library, doing outreach, and at another facility working with youth. So and I want to flick that in there, because depending on who you are, you may have a whole assortment, and it's all useful. Any undergraduate degree could be useful as long as you have those social services complete, or a diploma. You need a full diploma in social services with a similar background. So we've got people coming from the NSCC, all of our social services program, and other programs across the country. So I've been very privileged, because I've had so many amazing students, because I'm very privileged and gifted, because you come in with all those backgrounds. I would imagine all of you out there have different places and what you are. And what we do is we work with where you are to where you want to go. And I'll come with you, because one of the pieces of this. Yeah.
So Dale,
Yes.
from what I'm seeing, admission requirements, we're open to a diploma, a 2-year diploma.
2-year diploma in social services, or an LPN or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
or an undergraduate degree from social services or health and human services.
That's
so
correct.
That leaves things quite open.
It is, because when you start talking about outreach students, there's all kinds of different places you can work, because one of the things I have to deal with or focus on the first when people come in is they think they can only work in addiction specific organizations, when in fact that is a falsehood. You can work throughout the entire system where there's a need for outreach, because we're going to focus on outreach with knowledge around substance misuse and mental wellness, which is what you do. So how do you do that? Is by you looking at what you have, where you want to go, and then we will figure out that together. And I put it that way because there's so many places you can work. So instead of training someone just for one line where we only work in one place, that's not the case. So I've got students who are doing, because I'm planning the work terms right now, they're working everywhere. And yeah,
Dale,
you can party it together.
Let's move on to the next slide.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and talk a little bit.
Yes.
You've mentioned a bit about what goes into this program.
Yeah.
So let's dive a little bit deeper into that and talk briefly about those courses.
Yes, each of these courses are the real courses you take. So again, I'm going to say that what we do, and they've been designed that if you want to think of the program as a house, okay, the first semester, which is what's written on the left side of the screen, or my left side, okay, concepts and theories, working with groups, creating change, conversation, case management, the community outreach, and the profession, those are all in the first semester. They would be like the basement of the program. You would come in and you'd be introduced to courses that tells you about concepts and theories of the field, along with how do you talk to individuals, that's the change management course. How do you talk to groups, which is working with groups, and how to talk to communities, which is the community and program development. And we use a case management process. In other words, go through how do you work with individuals, and then you see that it also applies to groups and communities. The words change a little bit. So you learn how to do that in the first semester, along with, I need to be completely honest, we find you a way to get out in the community as soon as possible, do volunteer work and interviews. All right. In the second semester, you will do a semester-long community projects internship where you will be paired with an organization. You'll do a project for them, because oddly enough, many folks don't quite know this, but a lot of community outreach is actually project work. So you need to know how to do that. You learn how to manage a project and interact with employees. And it's all over feel what you do, because you need to tell me what you want to do, and then I'll pair you. I do not put people in places unless it's somewhere where they want, because I'm going to ask you, where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want to do in 2? Let's see about this. Okay. And then other courses that semesters like power, privilege, and culture, where we need to know how human rights and equity and inclusion fit into this. Without an understanding of diversity, outreach is impossible, because outreach is about issues of social justice and how to, as it were, how do we meet people where they're at and where they go. So in the second semester, it takes what we learned and then expands on that. So more skills application to change conversation, more about motivational interview, more how do you deal with crisis? How do you meet people where they're at? How do you do relapse prevention for not only substance misuse, but of course any other type of thing that relapse fits, and even understanding what I just said, so that you have an idea around that. And a seminar course where you look at what your own strengths and skills are. Along with the topics course, well, of course, you're going to want to figure out there's not every topic under the sun is here, so you will tell me what you want. And along with trauma-informed practice and mental wellness, and it all goes through these courses, provides you with the basis so that you can go work in the sector and have the skills that are portable and generalizable. And then at the end, you do a 300-hour work experience. And again, I won't just put you anywhere. You have to tell me where you want to go, because folks, sitting in this course, and I just said the precursor, the prerequisite, sitting in your course is not only, I don't know if there's international students who are watching, or there are folks with different types of degrees and changing their careers. People come with a lot of stuff. We'll work with what you have and figure out where you need to go. And by that, I mean, it's like, I know that with international students, people have come in and they didn't know whether or not what they've done in other, places are portable. Oh, we forgot if you can be registered here and how to do it if you want. Or for other students who are changing careers, I hope you figure out whether or not what you have can be usable and you can plur things, or even with if there's a possibility of registration, because of course all these courses have been created through the Canadian Centre for Substance Abuse and the national standards for being an addictions worker. You finish these courses and you can go through the Canadian Federation of Addictions and start a registration process through there too, because all our courses have been written in that way and the whole program's been written in this way. So you come in and you figure out where you are, and then we'll bring you where you need to be to. And that it, in many ways, it's customized. But the courses obviously have some learning outcomes. You got to meet the learning outcomes. But the question is how you meet the learning outcomes is dependent on you and what it is you want. I make suggestions on how to do the evaluation. And if you don't really like my evaluation, my thing, and this will give you an idea who I am, counter propose to me. If you don't like how I'm marking you, what a way, as long as we meet the learning outcomes of courses, that's what matters. How we do it is up to us. In other words, I've had years of students who've negotiated me, and indeed they've negotiated with this sample schedule, because look at that schedule. For the love of Pete, you're in class all the time. Don't be frightened. This is the way it is for the first couple of weeks, and then I negotiate with students about what they would like. Would they like time to do their group work and plan it themselves and maybe use teams? Would they like to flip the classroom? Because I've set things up. So often our schedule is really Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I fill in a hole, and you come in 3 days and we do that. And then you meet your groups and you do all of this, but it's through consultation and negotiation, because you're all senior people. So obviously, we have to learn to trust each other. And when you're senior individuals, being in class all those hours might not be the way that we do. We flip a classroom, you prepare, you come in and you discuss and you facilitate a lot. Just at the beginning, I do a lot of it, but at a certain point, we'll pass the baton over, because again, in the basement, the first floor, by the time we get to put the roof on, you're putting the roof on, and I'm just standing back with a cup of tea in my hand, making sure the roof's going on right, because that's how teaching is. Not that I'm a carpenter. Go ahead.
I like that you've designed the schedule with some flexibility for students. So
because we can, because of the very nature of this program, we can be flexible. Now, mind you, I just need to state obviously the obvious thing, and my mom told me long time, my dear mother told me many times to say the obvious, because obviously it's not obvious to others. It is an in-person full-time program, so you actually are expected to come to class, but we'll negotiate a bit. And it's usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays that we have classes. You are expected to come, because the other piece is I'm well aware that most people go and get jobs and such, and the jobs are typically very related to the program. So why wouldn't you? So we'll work that together, because people do like, I have learned that most people like to eat. So, you know, so, and it's really interesting that I'm talking about this now, not just the eating part, but hands-on learning. That's what this is. For those of you who come here, and I'm going to use, not meant to sound negative to other learning experiences people have, but we're not coming here and you're not going to be getting a 3 multiple choice and a APA essay and that your course is over. No, no, no. You do things like there's labs in the motivational interviewing or the change conversations course, labs, and in the case management you work cases and you role play. A lot of this, because our skills are nice and soft skills. So that means I don't talk about them like I am right now. I talk about them, I demonstrate them, then you show me, or I have you do some research, teach about them, and then we try, and then we work together. So it's very experiential, because how else do you learn to be an outreach worker without going to talk to people or with each other? So there's that type of stuff may be in the lab for the interviewing, or saying what ifs. Why would you do? Why are you going to do, and why? Design this program. Oh, go out and talk to an organization. Or the community projects internship is really hands-on. You're doing the very things we talked about. And the same thing with the work experience. Megan, did
Dale,
you have a question?
sorry, you
Go ahead.
mentioned that the program, you're not giving multiple choices.
None. There's
For
no multiple choice in this
how
course.
how are you assessing a student's
Oh,
learning in this
excellent.
program?
It's a good question that you asked, because after you asked that, I remember the first time I did this, I was so excited when I told students and they looked terrified. Okay, what you're going to be doing is getting credit for the hands-on learning, and you write learning narratives with, or a sentence or share where you tell me what was it that was unique about that experience, and what did you take away, or what did you think you knew beforehand and what do you know now, or you videotape yourself. Oh, by the way, I don't ever make you play this in front of other students, okay, just so you know, and we work up to it. Obviously it's not going to be on day one. No, 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 I need to put it in there. And you watch yourself and you tell me how you've changed between this video and that video, what it is. Because one of the things with the hands-on learning, I'm going to say right now, stop comparing yourself to other people. You got to figure out a way to get over the performance anxiety and see where you are and where you've gone. It's all about hands-on learning and comparing yourself to yourself. So we learn together. And we learn by going out into the industry, and we have guest speakers, and I have you do lots of scenarios, role playings, what ifs, that type of stuff. That's how it's done. And then
Perfect.
if we want to do something else, someone else can come in and do that. Mike, were you going to say something?
I was just writing on, I think it'd be important to let students know what kind of skills do we really look for and
Oh,
accentuate when you're here. And so I wrote down 4 that I can think of. And one of the things is,
go
first
ahead.
is applied research.
Yes.
Students that that are good at applied research, to not just researching, but then how would that research play out in the field? Group work,
Oh,
lots of
yes, a lot of it.
that you guys do. Planning skills. You have
Yes.
a lot of people that are good ideas people, but they don't. That's where it ends.
Hmm.
There's a lot of planning that goes into the year, and a lot
Yeah.
of group work. And the other thing is, I think of is introspection. There's a
Oh,
lot of
yes.
that takes place, and students really reflect on their growth as individuals, their growth as a class, and how they fit in to the general scheme of things.
Yes. And it fits right into the slide that Megan just pulled up, because everything we do is about inviting you as a learner to think about what you already know, what works in the situation, and where do I need to go to find more information. Because a lot of outreach work, especially where this is a graduate certificate program, you have to figure that out. No one's going to really tell you what to do, because you are being hired because you have that higher level skills. So job readiness skills is so that you can actually find where it is that's valid and reliable, use it, finish it, plan, and then carry through and evaluate it, whatever it might be. because I say it because you can be doing outreach one-on-one with an individual or a group or the community. So the actual skills are similar no matter what level, but yet you have to figure that out, because I know when I say that the first time in September, part of my role here is to ask you lots of questions for you to discover what you already know, because I'm students frequently, when I start with students who come from university, I ask them if they know anything. They tell me no. I know that's not true. That's not true. It's just that part of the process is to help you job ready skills, help you figure out what you already know and how to add to it and where to go and find this stuff, and to be able to critically reflect and learn to trust yourself in your decision making process. That's a
Dale,
big piece.
yeah, Dale and Mike, both of you may be able to answer this question. If someone is already working
Oh yes.
in the field or doing community outreach work,
Yeah.
when it comes to their work term, so this program does require a work term towards the end of your school year, can someone use their current employer or the nonprofit that they may be volunteering with? Can someone do their work term at that location?
Well, we do allow some of that, but it's by case basis because we need to know what it is. Having said that, there's two major work experience. One's the community projects internship, which is 1 day a week after in after Christmas in the winter semester, which is often Friday, but we work that out 1 day a week. And then the work term, we do ask that they be in different places for the most part. So one could be used, but rarely have both been used. Having said that, I'm going to be really frank. Like this program is so flexible in terms of thing. It really would determine be by what it is you're doing. Okay, because we really would like you to be doing outreach work in a community-based organization or something. So the answer is almost yes, but that's how I had to put it, Megan. And I think Mike might agree with me. Almost yes, right?
And I think what would there ever be a moment, would there ever be an opportunity where we'd say to a student, no, that doesn't seem like a good fit? And I think if we did, it would be more so as Dale gets to know exactly what it is that you're doing, and then your learning style, is it challenging you? Is it expanding your growth and development, or is it just you're comfortable where you're at? And comfort is
Yeah.
nice. I think what we need to do is get folks ready for industry.
Yeah, maybe we need to help you become more uncomfortable so that you can generalize your skills. Because if you only, as my mother would tell me, cake is good. If all you eat is cake, it's not good, even though it's good. You know, we
Yeah,
need to make sure there's diversity.
that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
When the college talks about being connected to industry with our programs,
Oh, yeah.
how does this program reflect industry need? Do we change the program to reflect what the best practices are in industry?
Oh, yes.
Bill, are you an addictions outreach person?
Well,
What's your
I,
background, et
yeah.
cetera?
Well, it is connected. That's how this program was created, because we had an older one that wasn't really done, and then this one, and we go through program reviews and we check in and we change curriculum. And the best way I can say to you is, if I taught the same way with the same content, I've been here for 25 years, okay? If I was teaching the same way with the same content as 25 years, not one of you would get a job, because the entirety of the addictions and even the mental health field in many ways is completely altered in those years. So it's a connection to industry is really important. I know for me, I've been on sabbatical a few times, so I've worked right back in industry as an outreach worker. And even now, I keep my skills current by engaging in community-based work, because how else would I do that? Or even now, things have changed. So our connection to the industry is that I don't really necessarily have very many problems finding placements, because, well, we're so connected, and we also make sure what we're doing, or even when we think about how the learning outcomes have all been designed, and it is about what the industry is asking. And in fact, right now we're going through program review, and I suspect that some of those learning outcomes got to reflect the language of 2024. And even like what I've just said, the language has changed in the 10 years this program exists. So I have to stay current, along with providing an opportunity for people to understand that what they learn today might not be the way it is in 10 years or 20 years, but to actually be able to critically reflect and evaluate what you do so that you can flow with the flexibility required to work in the field. Because that's a major competency for working in this field, in the outreach and addictions field, is that. And yeah, needless to say, when the college initially hired me, I'd just come out as a primary counselor in an addiction specific organization. I have a background of as a therapist for years. And then when I came in here and I designed the program, it was very individualistic. And then I realized that we needed to expand, because that's not, it's not the, we can think in the addictions world that it's all about treatment, but that's not the whole enchilada. There is so much to supporting people with substance misuse that goes beyond treatment. And that's why the outreach world is there, because it's a little different, but it's sort of not quite the same, but it is the same, but it isn't. And by that I mean is that as an outreach worker, you folks will have skill sets to work in a tremendous number of places that are not just addiction specific. And you take your knowledge and you can apply it in many, many locations and trades. And yes, all the students get employed. I already know. They all get jobs, and all over this field. I can't go to almost any nonprofit in this province and not run into students who I've had in my 25 years here. And in fact, to be honest, I was even in British Columbia walking in a parade last year, and I had a bunch of students come up and give me a hug. And same thing happened in Toronto. So I've well, never mind that. I was in Paris last year, and one of my students came over and sat next to me and had coffee. So that speaks about students going all kinds of places, so not that I can guarantee Paris. Paris had nothing to do with NSCC, just so you know. Okay. All right. So there, that'd be, yeah. And you are in demand, and you're working in places that might look sort of like both sides of this. I myself would opt to the one on the right myself, but the one being outside, but we work in multiple places because of the generic skills you have and the knowledge that you have. And it's all in terms of what this is combined with what you bring in and what you want to do.
It's great to hear that there are jobs in the industry. I think for students choosing a program, you want that security and that confidence to know that this program is going to help you in finding employment in something that you are passionate about, and something that you've spent a lot of time working towards and put a lot of effort towards your studies.
Or for some students, and I don't know who's listening, but some students say, and this is what I've been told, they're getting educated and getting a degree in psych or soc or something, and they don't know what to do with it. You come to us. You'll know. We'll get you employed. You actually know what you want to do, but you've probably been told a lot of things at university that might not actually be true, and they're more mythology, but you won't know until you get to us. We'll help you figure out.
Yeah. So I've moved the slide forward, except it's not reflecting on the screen.
Well, we've got the program fees up here, which I just often don't see it, but here's the program fees that you have and things.
Can you also on your screen, Dale, Mike?
Yes. I can see the screens, the tuition's there. There's a difference between the domestic and the, I don't know if this is even my spiel to do right now, Megan, but it's there for anyone that needs, and it's up online.
Yeah, so we have the program fees up on the page. Tuition, domestic students, $5,540. International students, $11,690. I will note these are the tuition and fees for the current school year. The fees for 2024-25 will be announced later this spring. So they will be published to our website. We want to keep things as transparent as possible when it comes to costs. This is money that we have all worked very hard to earn. So you want to know exactly what you will be spending. One thing you will note on our program fees page is we give estimates for your textbooks, for your classroom supplies, and for any additional costs. Dale or Mike, what are some additional costs for this program. We have the estimates up on the screen, but oftentimes faculty and staff will give a little bit of insider information when it comes to those books or when it comes to additional items.
Well, for the books, any books you buy before Christmas are typically used after Christmas. So your books are purchased before, and for me, I pared it down and I got rid of quite a few, and I use them cross courses. So there isn't one book per course. It's been done that way. And they're often Canadian oriented. You can use them. The other piece is that you know, maybe in terms of textbooks, you got to do you might choose to do NBCI, nonviolent crisis intervention, as a certification and stuff like that. The other thing that I would say is this: work terms are not paid as a rule, so you have to prepare for that. I know that it can be harsh. I mean, I did it myself when I was a student, and this has not seemed to change. I would prefer that they be paid, but they're not. And it's around here traditionally, no one is paid to do these, no matter what level, except if you're doing a PhD in clinical psych. They're the only people who are paid. So you need to think about that 8 weeks and be able to go back and forth. Now, mind you, I will work with you if you don't have a car, because I'm in rural Nova Scotia, and I'll figure out where you want. I've had students placed all over the country, and things of that nature. So that'd be one of the things for placement, so that you can get back and forth, right? But that would be it. And the criminal records check is written there. And sometimes we go to a conference if something's coming up, but it won't just fly with you without you knowing. We'll talk to you, because I like to get you out of the classroom as much as possible.
And depending if you decide to do your internship or your placement with young folks, so you would then have to get another, so you have to do a record check, then you'd have to have another check as well, just specific to working with folks that are underage.
And if by any chance you want to work for the health authority, you have to have all kinds of immunizations. Most of our partnering organizations with the outreach program doesn't require that, but some do, particularly if they're health. I'd need to do it too if I wanted to be employed by them. So it's one of those, just so you understand, there are certain places that they ask the students to do exactly what an employee would have to do to get there.
I'll also mention, if folks are planning on working with the health authority, or do require criminal record check, as well as the vulnerable sectors check, sometimes those pieces require additional time, or it can be a lengthy process, especially with some of those immunizations if you need updates. So keep that in mind if you are needing to get a criminal record check, and if you are needing that vulnerable or immunization.
Yeah. Having said this, it is the Addictions Community Outreach Program. If by any chance you have a problem with your criminal records check, it wouldn't be like you'd be the only one we've ever seen. Just wanted to add that there.
Yep, and transparency is great if you want to be open and connect with your faculty and your campus team about that. In the event that it could impact work terms or your opportunities afterwards. Yeah.
We will talk to you, because there's one other thing I just want to mention, is that in our program, we've had people who, because of previous experiences, lived experiences, may have criminal record issues. But we've also had students, just so you understand, you don't necessarily have to be in recovery yourself to take this program. I know that's one of the misunderstandings. Also, we've had people who have been on methadone while they're taking the program. So it's not a requirement that you identify being in recovery or not, or that you need to not tell us about what the realities of your life is.
Yeah, that's a great mention. When it comes to, so we talked about the cost of the program, and while we are the most affordable post-secondary option in Nova Scotia, we still see the fact that post-secondary education, even at NSCC, is an expense. It is money. If you are studying in a full-time program, it likely means that you are not working full-time and bringing in a full-time income. So we have plenty of scholarships, bursaries, and awards to help supplement that cost of tuition. Last year alone, we gave out over $3 million in the form of scholarships, bursaries, and awards back to students. Most of our awards opportunities or bursary opportunities are going to be based on financial need. If you're studying full-time and you're not bringing in a full-time or even a part-time income, at the end of the day, most of us will be in financial need in that situation. These awards are often broken up into different campus-specific awards, program-specific awards. They may look at your demographics, your volunteer experiences, as well as academic standing. Please apply for every single financial aid opportunity. At the end of the day, it's money that you don't have to pay back. It's coming off the cost of tuition. Worst thing that happens is you don't get an award. Best thing that happens is you're not paying for tuition for that school year. So please apply for absolutely every scholarship, bursary, or award. Mike talked a little bit about the King's Tech campus, how it is a smaller environment. It's not gargantuan. Can you talk a little bit about the services that students can expect?
Certainly. So when you're on campus, you can expect that we understand that life happens. So we understand that with your academics, whether you're doing well or whether you're not doing so well, there's precursors, there's things that are happening outside of the college. So we have student services and advising. And the student services and advising is when you come into that front door, to your left is the library and to your right is student services. And it's a large part of the downstairs campus for a reason. There's lots of folks there that are there to help you. So whether you're having issues with finances, there's someone there that you can talk to. And I should note, once you are linked up with your instructor, which would be Dale, Dale has obviously access to all of these folks. So she will be your conduit. She'll be the first person that you speak to about something, and that she can say, oh, we have services for that, and here's the person to talk to. So we have the student services and advising. That also includes your mental health, that includes finances, that includes your academics. We have lots of events that take place that get new students into the program, as well as lots of events that we have for current students that are here, whether it be sports, whether it be trade skills, whether it be like I said, I think we mentioned earlier, the nurses are having Vaughn is coming in, they're having a skills blitz. So there's lots of different events that happen on campus, as well as we do things with other campuses. Depending on, like in the case of Dale's program, where it's a one-of program, Dale will have lots of folks that are coming into campus to talk to you from industry as well. So we'll have folks that come in, talk to you, share their knowledge, et cetera, et cetera. We definitely have Indigenous and African Canadian services available for students. For students that, for example, identify as having a disability, we have services on campus as well. One of the things I love about our campus is we don't say that we're wonderful and we're perfect. What we say is we're growing and developing. So I've actually had a student that had an issue with her sight, and she said, Mike, I have a problem with this particular part of the campus. And I said, well, let's look into it. And she actually wrote up a little, she researched it, wrote up a little her findings, and gave it to Glenn, who's the head of our building here at department, and it was fixed. It was wonderful. Like, there was a fix. So we are very flexible. We're a welcoming community that's growing. We're looking to be perfect in the end of all things. Personal career counseling, it's free. It's to current students and to former students and to even folks off the street that are kind of trying to figure out where do I fit into to the economy, how can I provide for my family, and where do I fit into as far as work. Financial supports, I mentioned, of course, we have that. So when students are struggling, we tell them don't struggle in silence. Let us know, right? And often your first point of contact would be Dale. But one of the things that I think that we do well here is, after a while, we find out that a student went down and spoke to somebody in student services, and we find out later when the student service representative comes up, oh, Dale, I'm working with so-and-so. Oh, that's wonderful. So they've learned to be comfortable on the campus, so that they know there's lots of supports. And of course, academic and learning supports would be through my office, the academic chair. Dale and I work closely together to make sure that you're on point with your academics, and especially not just for students that are here, but if you're looking to go on to do something else. I think Dale had mentioned that you've got a few social workers that we've helped to get their registration. Even a year or two from now that you're not on campus, but you just have a question, we're always here. Always here.
Help.
Yeah, our campuses, King's Tech campus especially, it's very much a community space, not just for students, but the general public as well. It's a very warm and welcoming environment to be in.
Yeah, you name it, we have it. So once we get you, we're dedicated to keeping you.
Yes, yes. Maybe not keeping you, but supporting you in
well,
this.
That's what I meant when I said that. You know, we're dedicated to providing you with the outreach or the inreach that I'm trying to facilitate your learning about.
You become the family, which is a very lovely space to be in. Campus housing. So King's Tech does not currently offer on-campus housing. However, it has been announced quite recently that King's Tech will be the next round of new campus housing developments for NSCC. Currently, we have housing at our COGS campus, which is affiliated with our Annapolis Valley campus, Strait Area campus in Truro. In the fall, we will be opening our Akerley and Pictou campus housing, followed by Ivany in 2025. And then after that, our IT campus and King's Tech campus will be offering campus housing. So if you are listening to this webinar, and maybe you are currently in university or you're currently in college doing your studies and you're thinking of attending the Addictions Community Outreach Program in a couple of years, that'll be your time to have campus housing. So I thought I'd mention that. If you're considering applying, so applications for this program can be done online, nscc.ca/apply. As we mentioned earlier, this is one of our programs that does have a prerequisite requirement requiring you to have a degree or diploma from the social services or health and human services field. When you apply, you would be required to submit those transcripts to NSCC. They can be sent to documents@nscc.ca. If your institution is part of MyCreds, you can send them that way. That's a wonderful service, or they can be sent through regular mail. Admissions into this program is based on your application date. So the sooner you apply as a qualified applicant, the sooner you will hear from us. We're wrapping things up right now, which we're right on time, which is perfect. Staying connected. So our social media channels contain plenty of information and bite-sized pieces of information, which I love about all of our programs. So we have our Facebook, that should be changed to X or Twitter, as well as our Instagram channel. I'll open things up to questions. We had a couple of questions come through earlier. So questions from the attendees, if you have them, please feel free to ask. Mike and Dale, is there any final words or information that you'd like to share before we sign off?
I look forward to seeing you and hearing what you want or need. I mean, it's just like being facilitating learning around being an outreach worker is about meeting the people you're privileged to support where they're at. That's me as an educator, to meet you where you're at and see where it is you'd like to go to, and let's see if we can journey together.
Yeah, I look forward as well to having folks on campus, because I know that one of the things that you'll find here at King's Tech is that we are flexible, we are understanding, and we are also goal-oriented. And our goal is to get you employed. Often we've been very successful with getting students employed before you even finish school. So looking forward to seeing you and working with you in the future.
Yeah, meeting the learning outcomes. That's what we do with you, you know.
Excellent. Well, I want to send off a huge thank you for everyone for spending the last hour with us. And Dale and Mike, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and information with the group.
Well, I look forward to seeing whomever's watching this video to come in and meet us in real person. Usually the class is really diverse with international students. Students can be from all over the country. There are people who attend the NSCC, and we all come together and they create an amazing classroom environment, and we learn how to support each other. And as we do that, we learn how to be outreach workers with the knowledge of substance misuse and addictions, or even to know the difference of all these words I'm saying. And how do you use it and be really skilled, which I look forward to seeing y'all.
We've had folks from Trinidad, Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
all
Nigeria,
over.
India, Japan, Thailand, every province of the country has been represented. Every county of and university in Atlantic Canada has been represented through the years.
So now we're waiting for you.
Yeah, for you to come in and put a pin on the wall where you're from.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, you two. We have no questions coming in, so we'll leave it there. Thanks again, Mike and Dale.
Thank you.
Excellent. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.